Thank you for joining us today. My name is Abby Ape. I'm the Managing Director of the Brickell Homeowners Association, a resident of District 2, an engaged citizen, and we are coming at you today live through this webinar, and we wanted to share a very valuable tool that we have had here in the city of Miami. I am here by a friend, Claudia from IC Change. You can introduce yourself, Claudia.
Hi, Abby. Thank you for having me. My name is Claudia Sebastiani. I'm the community manager in Miami for IC Change, which is a data and community engagement platform to engage residents with cities and municipalities to combat climate change.
Awesome. Well, I know that this is something that the city of Miami uses for data collection, but I'm looking forward to learning more about how residents of D2 can use this platform to help with climate solutions and a very creative way that honestly I had never seen before. So Claudia, we're looking forward to learning more about it, and feel free to share what we're here for today.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this is just an intro presentation that I have. Apologies for not having, probably we could have a post webinar where we can talk about this particular rain event. We are on deck all day, and that's what we do as well. We want to be present to respond to residents as soon as possible. So IC Change is a global community engagement platform. It's based on citizen science, and we connect people to their changing environments to make solutions together. Most importantly, we act as a connector between residents and the government to promote efficiency and transparency. And we do it through crowdsourcing and analyzing qualitative and quantitative data to inform public project planning, design, and emergency preparedness. So as you can see, we connect cities, engineers, planners, and residents. And so this is also, the work is based on that we identify the problem, that there's inequity in participation. We all know that we want to attend those public meetings at the commission, and that is not always possible. So through this platform, you can just report impacts that you see, such as flooding that we're talking about today, but also heat impacts or anything that you're aware of in your community. So you can just share your thoughts, sightings, reports, impacts on the platform. It works as a social media platform, and I'll show you in a bit. So this is a community platform for climate response, where engineers also have benefits by having this tool available, where they can identify problem areas in the community. It also validates and improves models for infrastructure and policy. It helps build trust for disruptive but necessary updates, and also helps to reduce the risk through education and behavioral change. And for the residents, the benefits is that they get a quick alert before any other community priorities. Also have the availability to have a voice in local infrastructure and policy in real time, and also learn and discuss about climate impacts and solutions. So as you can see, this is just a quick side of how the app would look like on your phone when you're browsing through the sightings. You have the availability to post pictures and videos as well. And this is how it would look like. Kind of want to walk you through the process of what you will see is very fast. It's also a free platform to use. And you basically want to describe what you're seeing. You can be as succinct or as lengthy as you would like. Also important to notice if it's an unusual or usual sighting. Important to provide the date and the location of where your report is being made. And if it's flooding, you want to choose the investigation of storms and flooding. There's also some details and sensors that are available for you to input manually, but also the app provides that for itself. So for example, engineers, or in this case, the Department of Public Works and Resilience, wants to know how much flooding there is happening. So you want to make sure that if it's asking if it's flooding, you want to click in here, but now we have changed it. We have updated to yes or no. So when you click on yes, it's an alert in red is sent to the department, and so they're able to prioritize those areas where there's flooding, because there's also reports of puddles, and that is also something that needs immediate assistance, but this helps to arrange the urgency of it. It's also helpful to provide some information like when the storm started. Maybe you want to notate, maybe it was a heavy rainfall event for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. We're noticing that during this rainfall event, we have seen about 2.5 inches in about an hour and a half of heavy rainfall. So those are type of measurements and data that we're looking for to prepare and better work with stormwater projects. And when you provide pictures here, you can also now upload videos. That's something that the community requested. And so we're also a customizable app where we're constantly want to learn from the community and what the needs are. And so we can customize the app to make it as inclusive and easy as possible as it can be. And so here it provides that pictures are very important because it helps to identify the extent of the flooding. But also, as I was mentioning earlier, these are the details to the right here, where you can see that people can input their own, either if you have a ruler, you can measure the depth of a flooding, or if you kind of have an idea, you can also point out an object nearby, maybe a fire hydrant, or the water is up to your ankles or knees. That's very helpful. But also the app itself provides weather updates on how much humidity there would be, heat or wind speeds or things like that could really help add more information to the data. And with the City of Miami, we're the official flood reporting tool. When you visit the City of Miami's page, you can easily just click on Icy Change. It'll take you directly to our website, but you can also download the app on your iPhone or Android. We're looking as Icy Change Tracker. It's free and very easy to use, but you can also use it in any device, in your iPad, your regular computer. It all works, but it's always better to have the app at hand. And these are just a few pictures that I'm going to skip over, things that we have learned through the 3-year now that we have a partnership with the City of Miami. For example, here we learned in areas like Alapata during ETA, the storm, we had rainfall events that lasted about 4 days. We also saw that happening in North Miami, in areas like Little River or El Portal. And, you know, thanks to these posts, the City of Miami was able to validate the fundings that they were requesting, and they gathered $20 million for Little Havana, Alapata, and Wynwood for storm projects that were not in procurement before. So that is a success story that we want to replicate in all our communities. And as you can see, a post, well, in this case, it shows for us the exact address and the date, but also pictures are very helpful to understand what's happening. As we know, there's a lot of flooding happening by the Florida Department of Transportation jurisdiction here, where the flooding is happening on Biscayne Boulevard. And we have our super icy changer, Aaron De Mayo, who has a drone and it's able to take pictures like this. But of course, it really helps realize the extent of the flooding. And also, tell me.
While I have you here, this is an area that floods every single time it rains. What solutions can be brought forth that you know of?
Well, my understanding is that this road is not under jurisdiction of the City of Miami, and that's an issue. You know, that's a separate issue. But the Florida Department of Transportation is the one who has jurisdiction for this area. So the mayor, Francis Suarez, just shared publicly that they were working together with FDOT to work on the flooding. And the same day, the water receded completely. And that is just short term, right? We know, just like you said, that this has been happening for years. This is not just 2 days ago and it's resolved. It's something that is long term, also because this project was due in the fall of 2023, and now it seems like it will extend to 2017. So those are issues that, knowingly that the bay, for example, the bay, it needs protection, and if we allow this to happen more often, it could be a catastrophe, and we don't want that. So of course, community engagement helps to also keep our own institutions accountability, right? We want to make sure that even though City of Miami, it's not the one overseeing this particular area, it is within its boundaries, and they can directly advocate for us. And so by posting on IC Change, they have the data and evidence, in this case, pictures or videos, to really try to, in this case, make FDOT accountable and proceed and find solutions for it. So it's very much in the weeds, but it takes community engagement, which is what IC Change is pushing for. And we see that it's working, because the more we share these sightings, if we stay quiet or we don't share anything, of course, they won't know and they won't work on this. So it just all goes back to community engagement.
Yeah, and although this is through the Brickell Homeowners Association, I'll be sure to share it with our other neighborhood associations so they can also spread the word, because this has been one that has been questioning for a long time. And as a resident, I didn't know FDOT owned this road, and at the same time, like, it shouldn't really matter, but I understand why the jurisdictions would overlap and the delay that comes forth. So we're thankful that the IC Change app is calculating and collecting this data that we know exists, right? So
yes, yeah, and you've seen I see you posting regularly. Thank you so much for that. And you see how fast the water cleared, because the rain has not stopped really, and it'll continue. It's forecast until tomorrow, but it's also coinciding with high tides, which is actually happening right now. We're in the middle of the peak of the rainfall together with high tides. So we're expecting flooding in areas that we may not have seen so far. And it really helps identify where the urgency is.
right.
And these are just other pictures. Here, I just want to show you, this is what you would see when you sign up. You create your name, your last name, most importantly, email, because we do send email updates. We're very considerate with not bombarding emails. In times like this, when there's an emergency or something to keep watch or be alert, we're sending an email per day with updates from the city, with updates from the neighborhoods, posts that you can see from your neighbors in different areas. And you set your location that is private for everyone, and you personalize your account. And when you post, you describe what you're seeing, you provide the date and location. The investigation would be, you would change it to storms and flooding. And from here, yeah, this is a QR code, but you can also go to ichange.org or ichange.com. We also have that browser now, or you can contact me at claudia@ichange.org. Then I would also like to share maybe how the app will look like now, so you guys see. Do you have any questions for me, Abby?
You have been on the back end of the app for the past 3 years, right? So I know you mentioned that you have seen some great progress in communities like Allapattah, where they were able to get a grant. What other neighborhood impacts have you seen? Well, but before you get to that, I can share mine. I live on an intersection that would flood continuously since I moved here. And once I started reporting it on the IC Change app, Claudia would always comment and ask questions. And just this week, I looked out my window and there was no flooding at all, which I reported that's unusual because there's always flooding in my intersection here. So I posted, I said, this is unusual because there is no flooding. And Claudia was able to share the back end of that. If you want to share with us what happened, like how is there no flooding right now?
Of course. So as you post your, when you hit submit, that is shared in real time with the Office of Public Works and Resilience, and they're able to collect this information and send inspectors or Public Works deploy pumps, or in this case, they're also deploying Vector trucks, which act as vacuums, and they place them in key areas. So we know some already existing areas like Edgewater or right across Margaret Pace Park where you are. And, you know, Brickell has used to be seeing a lot of flooding on that intersection of 12th and Brickell Avenue. And so because of icy change now, it's not really happening. And sometimes it takes time, but with icy change, we've seen that the response has been faster because also it's not just easy for the residents to post, but also for the planners and engineers, for the administration, the way they receive the data, because keep in mind that they're receiving information from the emergency management, from the fire rescue, from the police department, from 311. And, you know, we try to make it as informational, but also in an organized manner. So we're trying to see how icy change could be a hub for all of these eventually. But right now, we're not an emergency response tool, but what we are is we're a connector, and we're seeing that this is providing a fast and efficient response. And so like what you mentioned, I'm going to share my screen you not only made a post about it, but someone else also, well, here,
Yeah.
show you where you can see. So for example, I can see from Miami-Dade, and for example, we have Robert here who shared that he's noticing that precipitation is happening before the rainy season begins, but also that the city of Miami was present and working. And so you can see how the flooding has receded. And these are important, you know, great posts to not only share the problem, but also the solutions and how effective the city is being, right? It's part of the accountability as well. And for example, I can share other pictures. For example, you, Abby, you reported today that there was a lamp that, you know, it looked like a thread. And, you know, this is how they would receive the information, where the exact location would be. So please keep us posted on that. But also, for example, you shared video. In this case, it really helps to see that the water has started to recede, so that's really good news. But you also posted about this. This is the one we were talking about, that
Right.
there was no flooding yesterday. And so look at that. So
Yeah.
that's what we want to see. And we're still getting more rain. So how is your street looking like today?
There's very minimal flooding, like maybe to the ankle max, but in the other parts, not in the part that I've constantly reported. In the area that I've constantly reported, there's no flooding at all. And I'm shocked and thankful.
That's great. Look at how flooded it was just the day before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we know that this is a target area. And so, yeah, we're able to see all these reports in real time, and there's also videos. You can put in videos.
I don't see many posts from Brickell. Is that because people are not reported or just because I'm not seeing it?
Yes, we need more engagement. I
Mhm.
think that it would be a great ally in connecting us with the community. And I think most people are still not aware that this tool exists. So please, it's just, it would be great for us to do more of these and help in any way. Edgewater is also seeing a lot of flooding.
Absolutely.
This is an area that has already been identified with urgency for stormwater projects. But, you know, we can get frustrated because especially now that we're going to be experiencing more heat and the seasons are coming in earlier. So, you know, it feels like in Miami, it's always summer. And now it's going to feel like an eternal summer time. It's coming in, it's in earlier, our winters are shorter. And with that will come more rainfall events. And we've been noticing that a lot of the flooding has been because of heavy rainfall events, not even hurricanes.
Right.
And so this is another area that, for example, used to flood a lot. And you can see here that it's starting to accumulate water, but it's not as bad as it used to be. So, you know, for example, right now we're in high tides. So the water is already, and the drainage are exacerbated from the continuous and ongoing rainfall event that we've had. So, you know, it kind of, we need to keep up with the maintenance.
Right. And in that picture you just shared in Brickell, what has been some of the mitigation efforts that have been done there? Is it just clearing the drains for that intersection?
That is just in the short term because we want to provide immediate assistance, but also in the long term helps identify which neighborhoods are seeing more flooding and the extent of the flooding, also the frequency where they can measure what the urgency would be. And so there are so many neighborhoods that are coming in that were unknown, and there's just enough funding. So when we get more of these posts, it really helps to gather that evidence when the city is trying to get grants from different sources or funding from different sources. So as I mentioned earlier, thanks to IC Change, Little Havana and Alapata were able to become part of the stormwater project, and they gathered $20 million. So $20 million was allocated for these communities. And we are also partnering now with Miami-Dade County. So with them, we're kicking off our heat campaign season, but it'll be with the intersectionality of flooding and pollution from water and from land. We know that in Little Havana, the #1 issue is trash and illegal dumping. So that really, when you don't think about flooding, but then when you see all this garbage getting into the drainage, it's really clogging it. And, you know, we used to be seeing more flooding in Little Havana, which is 8 feet above sea level. And we know that those are high ground areas, but yet they were seeing more flooding than coastal communities. So we were kind of too focused on certain areas. Usually we tend to think coastal communities would flood, but then seeing that inland, they were getting more flooding. It was critical information for the city to act. And that's how we managed to get this critical funding in such a short time. Also, the stormwater projects, the fastest and most efficient, can take 3 years. So imagine the people who live in Edgewater and they're seeing their street flooded almost every day. It can get frustrating because these projects can take easily 5 to 10 years. So the sooner and the more we work together, you see how fast we can move.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a fan, and I will do my best to share this information with as many people in our community as possible. And after this recording, we'll make it available on YouTube to ensure that it gets spread far and wide.
Okay, great. Everybody go to icchange.org. You can also find us at icchange.com, but you can download it on your iPhone or Android. You can find us as IC Change Tracker and start reporting your sightings.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Abby.
you, Claudia, for your time. Appreciate it.
Of course. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.